Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to do another Q&A video answering your questions on the finale of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2, and also some questions on the future of The Walking Dead, with Season 3 and some of the other shows and everything. So before we go further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, and also if you do want to take part in these Q&As, go and join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. But let's get into the very first question here. So Q&A, is Cadron alive? I think they had him just walk off for a reason. I don't know when we'll see him again, but I have a feeling he's alive and will make an appearance in season 4 or 5, unless they straight up kill him in season 3, like finding him dead on the way to England. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they could really go, either way with that. I think it really depends on the actor as well. Like, is he going to come back? Like, does he want to come back? I think that obviously he probably would, right? I mean, I think that he will come back at some point. I think maybe at the very end of season 3, he could show up in like a finale cliffhanger or something, but I think if anything, it's going to be maybe a season 4. Like, just sort of wait a little bit in terms of, bringing that character back, just establish a newer world. Like, could you imagine if, going into season 4 and like a year from now, we're all talking about Cadron's return because there was a really cool like post-credit scene or something like that. Like, I don't know. I think you can make it work somehow. And then obviously he would be a character there for season 4. Maybe don't kill him off that season. Just have him there for season 4 and 5. Then maybe he dies. Like, some of these characters are going to die, obviously. And I think that you just want to have them around for like most of the show. And I mean, that's the thing, some characters from this storyline overall, like you want them to be at the Commonwealth. And I think that's what's sort of exciting about Laurent being at the Commonwealth, because he's that connection to France, right? And so whoever they meet in Spain here, there's going to be a whole new world, a whole new story here that we're all going to learn about next year. And I think there's going to be characters there that we're going to want back, at the Commonwealth as well. And so to keep connections throughout this whole entire, series, I think would be really important. And so I think Cadron, showing up at some point, it's likely going to happen. Q&A, I didn't figure out the hint/teaser in the Daryl Dixon show that you mentioned about before regarding what's going to happen in the future of the Walking Dead universe. Have you figured it out, what it was? If so, could you please answer me? Thank you. Well, it was nothing. I think it ended up being just like a behind the scenes thing that happened after the episode was over, which I never watched, but obviously it just kind of went into, the behind the scenes of the season, and they released a season 3 trailer. Like, I wasn't expecting that, because obviously they have been filming for quite some time, but I thought they were going to release a Dead City teaser, and I'm kind of excited about the fact that they never did, because now there's a lot of excitement for Dead City season 2. I think showing that off right now, like, yes, it would put us in the mindset of Dead City season 2, but I also think that it's also a little bit too far away, where I think it could also end up like, Daryl Dixon season 2, where they just never really gave us a lot at all, but they gave us a lot of stuff a lot earlier. And so we were waiting so long for that show. So releasing a teaser for Daryl Dixon season 3, like, obviously that's not coming out for another like 10 months from now, but maybe that'll be the only teaser we get until like Dead City's over at some point next spring, right? Then we'll get a full trailer or something like that. But obviously it's still, far away. It's still like, 6 months away until we get that trailer probably for Daryl Dixon season 3. I mean, they might even release it at Comic-Con, so maybe it's like 7 months away, 7-8 months away or something. But but we have another show before that's going to be like 8 episodes. And so we'll have that to focus on in the time being. But Q&A, do you think that we will see any more variant walkers moving forward into season 3, such as organic variant walkers like the climbing walkers and burners that aren't humanly engineered, as in Janae's experimental walkers? I think that we will see that for sure. I think it would be actually kind of cool if we did see some really cool, like, faster walkers and like more aggressive walkers that weren't human created in terms of Madame Janae's super walkers. I think that would be honestly really cool. I don't know what's going to be happening in Spain in terms of that. I think that they know they have to introduce, some story like that, because it is exciting. Like, to have walkers be overall different than the normal walkers we've had for however many years is something that is very, very exciting. And like, this show is competing with The Last of Us and, Fallout as well, I would say. Like, all of these shows are competing with that, because I think for everyone looking at, people who are fans of the zombie apocalypse genre are going to be looking at what's out there. And The Last of Us and Fallout have different types of zombies or creatures that are in the apocalypse, right? And so The Walking Dead right now, just sticking to very normal walkers. Again, you don't have to go crazy and have like these insane monsters and make it where it's like very like Resident Evil. You don't have to do anything like that. But I think you do need to introduce some aspects to it that make it more exciting. And I think they did that with Daryl Dixon and the Super Walkers, but they definitely have to keep that up, I think, going forward. Like, what was really cool about Dead City is that they had the Walker King, and it was really a normal walker, but it just sort of fused together. So it ended up being like almost like this final boss walker, right? Which was really cool. So I don't know what they have planned for season 2. I know they've been teasing something else, and so I'm excited about that. But yes, to answer your question, I do think for sure we will see more variants. But Q&A, do you think they're going to explore more of the new things with variants in season 3? Based on the teaser trailer, I feel like they're not doing that anymore. Well, the one thing about that teaser trailer was that it more showed off the show in its new setting. I don't think they were going to tease anything in terms of a bigger story. Like, we have no idea what the story is going to be. Like, if you remember before season 2 even aired for Daryl Dixon, we had no idea what the story is going to be really in general. And then we watched the very first episode, and then it just sort of introduced this whole thing of like Carol lying to Ash, and then this whole other, side of the show was just sort of there. I think that that's what we see in the trailer here. Like, they're showing us some of the cool locations in terms of, this is what Spain is like, and this is, I guess, London as well. They do show us London. So there's going to be 2 locations, I guess, in season 3, though I think they'll be in London for probably the first episode, and then I think in that episode they'll likely be in Spain at the very end, and I think they will get into it for sure. I just think that they have to set it up organically where it makes sense. You don't want to introduce this new variant in like the first couple of episodes. Maybe it's something that a group nearby sort of gets into. Like, I do want to talk about that group that we see in the trailer, in which we see them celebrating walkers. Like, I think that's probably going to be a thing in this season, is that the group that they're actually staying with, they celebrate walkers, or they have this ceremony about walkers. Maybe it's not in the same way that the Whisperers did, where they literally became the walkers, right? I think that it'll be very different, and they more celebrate it because maybe it's overall a very good thing. Like, maybe for them the apocalypse was a good thing overall. So we'll have to wait and see where the story goes here. But if this group was creating a variant walker, that'd be really cool as well. So Q&A, what are your thoughts on the prediction that Daryl and Carol will go to London in season 3's premiere to get a boat, and then the boat will take them to America, but on the way something goes wrong and they end up in Spain? Even though they're filming in Spain, it could be London at first in the show's premiere. Also, if the Spain storyline is only season 3 and 4, could they run into a similar issue that season 2 ran into, where they kill off most of the Spain characters before season 5? Yeah, so first of all, on the first part there, I do think that, yeah, we will see London in the very first episode, and I think that, your prediction that you gave makes the most sense. Like, they're going to be on that boat, they're probably thinking, all right, we're going to America. It's going to be really that simple, I think. I don't think there's a lot to read into there. I think that it's pretty self-explanatory in terms of how they're going to eventually get to Spain, but that definitely is something that I am sort of concerned about in terms of the last part of your question. Like, all the characters that we meet in season 3, are they going to be killed off in season 4 just because in season 5 they're going to be going somewhere else? I hope that isn't a thing. Like, I don't know why a lot of the characters were killed off in season 2. I get it that you are ending an arc, but like, the way they ended the arc was so fast. It was just, honestly, season 2 was a mess of a season overall. And so I hope that season 4 isn't going to run into those very same issues overall, but we'll have to watch season 3 first, and then once we're through that season, we'll see where season 4 goes at that point. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm concerned about, but we'll have to wait and see. Q&A, do you think they will try to still find Laurent knowing he's in America by bringing variant walkers there, and that's kind of the end game? Or do you think the variant walker storyline is over? The variant walker storyline is most likely over in terms of the super walkers that we see on the show, like with Pouvoir and everything. Like, I don't think Pouvoir or the Nest are going to be wanting to look for Laurent. I think all that storyline is basically over at this point, but that isn't the connection to the World Beyond post-credit scene. It looks like there is something that is different happening there because of Madame Genet talking about, like the monsters they made and stuff. They've been teasing that France created the Walker virus, or it seems like they're sort of hinting at that right now. We'll see where that goes, obviously, in the next couple of seasons here, but all that storyline we'll probably see at some point in the future. And yeah, but I think in terms of the variant Walker storyline, that's most likely done at this point. I don't think that they'll bring back super walkers at all. I think that, I don't even think they have the serum for it or anything like that. So I think that it makes sense that we'll probably not see those super walkers anymore, which is definitely a disappointment in terms of how they handled that storyline overall, because I think we all had a lot of questions and they ended it so fast without explaining anything. And we don't even really know for sure if like that storyline is like disconnected, from the super walker or the very aggressive walker that we saw in the World Beyond post-credit scene. There's no confirmation on the show. And obviously when you watch the show, it almost makes sense that it would be disconnected because the walker in the post-credit scene, turned to a walker that was very aggressive without the serum. So obviously very different than the variant walkers or the super walkers that we're seeing created by Madame Genet. So there's like a connection there because it's in France. Madame Genet said, you know, the monsters they made in reference to, you know, what was happening in France. And so I think that, yeah, like there's something there, I think, in terms of a story that Gimple is slowly trying to introduce right now, but we'll just have to pay attention to whenever we learn more details like that. Like, that's sort of why I'm interested in Spain as well. It's like, what are they going to get into for that story? Like, does Spain know what France was doing? Is there going to be stuff in that season that teases a lot of the future and whatnot? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for posting all of your questions. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.